Sonia stood by Philip's office door with her hands wrapped around the strap of a small bag. Her heart was a drum in her chest. She could feel the metal inside, the knife, but what beat louder were the thoughts running like thunder in her head. She had rehearsed this moment in her mind for weeks and it had always sounded like a storm, fierce, unstoppable. Tonight the storm came with trembling hands. She talked to herself in whispers. If I do it, she said, voice cracking, what happens after? What if he doesn't die? What if he grabs my hand? What if I can't run? Each question hit her harder than the last. She had taken something to steady her courage, something that filled her with a false boldness. She told herself she had no choice, that this was the only way to stop the shame and the lies that had crept into her life, and yet a small, stubborn part of her kept asking if there was any other way. Inside, Philip was alone with his rehearsed lines. He caught himself imagining simple fixes, a gift, an apology, a new car, ridiculous thoughts that floated like paper boats on a dangerous river. His fear was the kind of fear that comes from knowing you've pushed someone too far and hoping, wildly, you can put it back together with money or charm. Maybe I should leave for a while, he said aloud, then laughed at himself because running felt like admitting guilt. Outside the door, Sonia's memories crowded in. Late-night arguments, the softness of the good times that made the bad ones sting more, the little promises he made that slipped away the way water slips through fingers. She remembered the way he used to call her beautiful even when she didn't believe it, and how those words had once been a shelter. Now they felt like knives. A single tear fell, hot and surprising, and for a second she wondered who she had become. She could imagine the moment after, the silence, the police, the forever of regret. She could also imagine the look on Philip's face if he begged, that same face that used to smile at her birthday cakes. The contrast made her stomach twist. Philip stopped pacing and stood very still, as if sensing her presence without knowing why. He whispered, not to anyone in particular, if I buy her a Benz, will she forgive me? The words were absurd and tragic at once. He had always believed he could fix things with things. He had never learned to listen to the quiet, dangerous weight in another person's heart. Sonia thought of walking away, but she was high on drugs. What she didn't want in the deepest part of her, was to become someone who destroyed everything they once loved. The door clicked, not open, only a sound, small, final. For a moment the world held its breath. Sonia's knees went weak. The knife in her bag felt heavy not because of its weight but because of the life it pointed toward. She felt a tide of pity for both of them, for the boy who believed he could buy forgiveness and for the woman who had been beaten down into believing violence was her only voice. She stood there shaking, letting the night decide for her. Sonia swallowed a sob and, with an effort that felt like ripping herself apart, she dropped the bag on the floor.